What's up, guys? I'm Jacob. You're watching the Preppers Bunker Outdoors. We're not going to do any kind of special intro today or anything like that because this is a totally unplanned video. The video today is going to potentially sound a little bit condescending, whether you are at the new AR buyer stage or the average Gucci AR buyer stage, or really anywhere in between. It could sound a little bit condescending, but I want to wrap this up at the end with some information that can help anybody, but this information is probably most valid for the newer AR buyer. Why does everybody hate PSA? And I'm actually using PSA as a fairly generic term here. It does often seem that people are talking about Palmetto State Armory, but you could, people say the same thing about Bear Creek Armory, the same thing about Anderson Arms. But again, I saw this on the PSA Facebook group. Someone showed a picture of their AR pistol assembled incorrectly, sitting on their kitchen cabinet, and they said, I guess I'm just going to enjoy this a little bit before they are illegal. And looking through the comments, most of them were either talking about whether or not pistol braces are going to become illegal, but a lot of people are like, ooh, what flash suppressor can or linear compensator is that, and what is this, and I want to build it like that, and what is that and the other. And the guy's got his front sight post on backwards. He's got no optic on there. We have a stigma when it comes to budget ARs of people buying ARs and firearms as toys. And so people who align more with myself, who see firearms as a tool, specifically a tool ready to be used and rightfully that should be used for the preservation of liberty, look at a post like this and say, what did you buy it for? If you bought it legally, and they're going to illegally make it illegal, you use it to ensure that they can't take it, or whatever the case may be. This is a tool for the preservation of freedom, so the mindset is wrong. Really, all guns are unconstitutional, and so I'm not going to tell you to do anything other than what is legal, but there's a mindset thing. And so I get into, and I'm sitting here talking about the budget AR people, all right, having toys, but I have the opposite conversation with the Gucci people. I had a conversation with a guy talking about how much you need to spend or what brands you need to buy from for your service, home defense, fighting rifle, okay? But the guy had never taken any training. He's talking crap about people who buy budget ARs. Where's your training? Where'd you get your training, dude? You spent all this money on your gun. How many mags do you have? Where's your kit? How much ammo do you have? What is your problem with the budget AR? So he posts this happened a long time ago, but he posted a picture or multiple pictures of people with entire collections of ARs, none of them really set up, all of them somewhat wrong, all of them with stupid aesthetic modifications. So why I said that this video could be condescending to basically everybody is you don't need to buy the Gucci AR for a fighting rifle. You don't need a free float rail to put your laser or PEC 15 that you don't know how to use onto it for the night vision that you probably don't have, etc., 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 etc. You need to get an affordable quality AR-15. You need to have a rifle sling, an optic, sights, probably a weapon-mounted light, a good one, and I don't always recommend that first, and we'll do a whole nother video about that, but you need to get the training. So, you don't know, let's say you don't know anything about an AR-15, you go buy 30 rounds of ammo and a weapons light off of Amazon, etc., etc., somebody breaks into your house, are you going to be better off because you've got that Amazon weapon light? Or would you have been better off investing in multiple training classes, practices, essentially thousands of rounds of ammo, and actually knowing how to run your stuff? Worst case scenario, dude, flip your freaking light on in your house before you smoke somebody, if that's your concern. Anyways, we're getting off topic. Here's the deal, guys. You don't have to spend big money. There is a time and a place for it. This is my gun here. This is just the one that I have set up for home defense for this region of the house and for certain SOPs that we have in place. I have ran both Palmetto State Armory and Bear Creek Armory ARs through classes at Tactical Response, beat the dog piss out of them. And so there's a point of diminishing returns. I would not tell somebody to avoid any of these brands by any means, but let's just say you don't know, let's say you want to buy an expensive AR-15 because you want to ensure that you're getting a good piece of gear, but you don't know how to tell if it's good or not. It's a valid argument, but let's talk about what you want to look for if you don't know anything and you have to buy something budget. This front sight post here, people don't like them because they're not cool anymore, because they became standardized, right? Like, the military uses those and they're on cheap rifles. I need to get rid of it. Well, if you want to free float your rifle and you get one of these, you can just hack this thing off and free float it, right? But this is pinned in. I can't tell you, I would say of all of the problems with ARs in training and outside of training that I've seen, which has been a lot outside of the military, I would say that probably 90% of the ARs that failed because the gas block came loose and moved. So if you have a normal gas block, I don't care what brand it is, typically, if it's not pinned, it's held in place with a couple screws that go into a dimple in the barrel. Those screws are held into place with Rockset. Rockset is a thread locker that is heat resistant, but do you know how Rockset is defeated? Water. Do you know what you're going to go through in your militia fantasies fighting against the government? Constantly? Water. You're gonna be wet all the time, I promise you. I can't tell you how often I was soaked to the bone in Afghanistan. You're out on a mission. The weather doesn't care. The weather doesn't care. You're gonna be wet all of the time. I just see them fail constantly. But a pinned gas block, I've never seen. Somebody here has. James Yeager would have, I'm sure, but I have never seen a pinned gas block fail. So, huge benefit. Pinned gas block. You don't know anything about ARs? You want something reliable? Get an AR with a pinned gas block. The cheapest ARs with pinned gas blocks have these front sight posts. Whatever. We'll move on from there. Staked castle nut. I see people's castle nuts come loose all the time. Their whole buffer tube gets a little bit wonky or whatever. Stuff starts going wrong. The bolt carrier group starts smashing into the lip of your doggone buffer tube, tearing stuff up. No good. Stake that. Check it before you buy it. Is it staked? If it's not staked, no big deal. Stake it yourself. And then, the last thing that I think, it seems to me, used to be a bigger problem than what we see now is gas key staking. All right? So, it used to be your options were a parkerized bolt carrier group. Was it magnetic particle tested? Was it not? Who knows? There's a lot of crappy bolt carrier groups. They are often not properly staked. So you want to see big old dents in the side of these bolts here, pinching those bolts in place, probably even bigger than the ones that I have here, so that these screws won't back out. Another common problem with the AR design. This gas key, your gas is coming in right here. If this sucker's loose and flopping around, your gun's dead. It's a bad deal, especially if you break these. It's a bad deal. It happens. Those three things. If you have those three things, I don't care what the brand is. I don't care if it's Bushmaster, DPMS, Palmetto State Armory, Anderson Arms, whatever the case may be, it does not doggone matter. Your gun will probably run. Keep it relatively clean, keep it relatively oiled. Your gun will probably run. Go take a class. So with that said, I guess I could wrap this up now. But let's get back to the point here. Is the person in the Palmetto State Armory group showing off their favorite toy? It is okay to buy guns as toys as an adult. I like buying 22s. One of my favorite gun toys is the Heritage carbine. It's a revolver 22 long rifle carbine. It's not a fighting rifle. I like to shoot squirrels with it, but my life doesn't rely on it. That's fine. It's cool, guys. But the stigma given to the budget AR buyers is earned by people who just want a budget AR as a toy. Again, it's not necessarily wrong to do that. I would say it is more wrong to judge these firearms and manufacturers by the people who buy them because they're able to sell them cheaply. I think that Palmetto State Armory puts out an amazing product. My Bear Creek Armory upper, no issues whatsoever. Guys, for next to nothing, you can buy a nitride barreled, nitride bolt carrier group and bolt mil-spec AR for so cheap. And back in the day, you know, when I was buying mags for my deployment because the turds could hardly even provide them, and I was getting magazines from like Vietnam on deployment, I bought mags. I paid like $30 each for them. For Tango Down trash, crap, garbage magazines, okay? And if you wanted to go buy a good AR, it was really doggone expensive, and you were getting all of this Parkerized stuff, Parkerized barrel, Parkerized bolt carrier group, etc. There's nothing wrong with Parkerizing. It's pretty tough, it's pretty stain resistant, but it's nothing like nitriding. If you got nitrided stuff, that was Gucci back in the day. That in itself was Gucci. Now it's standard. So you don't have to spend a ton of money if you keep what you're looking at realistic. If you buy the right thing, you can get an AR with a non-free float rail just as good as the people today who are actually fighting with their rifles. They're doing so without a free float, guys. When I had ODA attached to us, or we were attached to ODA, running around Afghanistan with special forces and even Afghan special forces, and they had Mark 18 uppers, the old school ones in 2009 and 10, they weren't free floated. It's a marketing thing that has become so affordable and mainstream that people think that you need it. You don't need it. Focus on what you do need. Because would you, with the most Gucci AR setup on the planet, in some one-to-one fight back in the woods or in this house, go smoke some high-speed ODA guy with this silly AR, this silly POS AR? No, you wouldn't. He'd smoke you. Why? Because he has the training. So stop trying to buy competence. Mindset, skills, sorry, I just killed it. Mindset, tactics, skills, gear. Less buying, more doing, and get your training from qualified instructors. Check out the description box below. You'll see how you can support this channel, guys. You know, the FUDs of yesterday are telling you to carry a 1911, and if you're a woman, carry a revolver and all this silly crap. And the Gucci boys of today are the FUDs of tomorrow that are telling you that you need to spend X amount of dollars and you need to buy X, Y, and Z so that you can have a good piece of gear, but they're never getting training. They're just repeating what they've heard. They're repeating the marketing. There's a place in the middle. You know, I've got a ton of this AR, non-free floated. I've got free floated ARs. I've got ARs for different things. And I would not or will not hesitate to take any of them into a fight because I know how to run them. I know how they run. I know how to make sure that they are running and will continue to run. And I don't have to spend more. Mindset is the number one thing for a reason, guys. I will not buy a cheap fighting light. I love the Cloud Defensive Owl. All of these people in previous videos that are complaining about me talking about a light have never taken a class on how to use a light. And if you use a light incorrectly or your light fails you, which they often do, you will die. Unless you're just using your light to shoot raccoons in the backyard. Then you might die, but probably not. I think I'm going to wrap it up, guys. That's what I've got for today. Again, check out the links in the description box below to see how you can support this channel. This is just a random video that I had to do today because I saw that, and the mindset when it comes to a fighting rifle, the mindset of the average AR buyer is just as wrong as the average Gucci AR buyer. And I've had these failures from Daniel Defense. I've had these failures from Barrett. I've had these failures from all of these different guys. Guys, you know what? Let's talk a little bit more. How many times? I need to do a video about this because it's probably the most asked question ever. It'll be my #1 video. What do I need to update first? Yourself. All I ever hear is bolt carrier group and then barrel and then trigger and then you'll be good to go. Why are you upgrading your bolt carrier group? Your bolt is a wear item. Have an extra bolt. Make it a good one. Run your current bolt until it breaks. Have an extra bolt. Have an extra firing pin. Okay? Bolt carrier group. Why would you upgrade your bolt carrier group? If the gas keys hold, bolt carrier groups don't fail very often. They don't. Why are you going to upgrade your barrel? I need a cold hammer forged barrel that's chrome lined. Do you know what that is? Why do you want cold hammer forged? It's better because forging is stronger and cold hammer forged, there is zero benefit to a cold hammer forged barrel for you. A forged barrel, the forging process does not align the molecules. In fact, it destroys the molecules and creates stress fractures. And anything that is forged has to be normalized afterwards to de-stress the steel and reheat treated to align all of your molecules and give you the proper grain structure. Just like a normal barrel does, still has to be heat treated. It's the same thing after the heat treat. It does not freaking matter. Cold hammer forging saves manufacturers money and materials because they're not removing steel, but the machines are incredibly expensive. So usually you see it at government contractor level barrel manufacturers, but there's no benefit to it at all. Chrome lined is good for sustained full automatic fire for resisting heat, but it's less accurate. A nitrided barrel is going to be more accurate, and if you're not going full auto, is going to last just as long, if not longer. A Bear Creek Arsenal barrel will guaranteed with good ammo give you a 1 MOA accuracy, and I put it to the test. The barrel's freaking accurate. Why are you upgrading your barrel? Your trigger. Your light trigger is not going to make you a better shooter. If you're a sucky shooter and you get a really good trigger, you're just going to be a sucky shooter with a good trigger. These are not precision rifles, they're fighting rifles. If you've got a bull barrel, free-floated, SPR, groundhog hunting rifle, bench competition rifle, yeah, go do the trigger, dude. But for your fighting rifle, how about learn how to shoot? So we're going to call it good just from there. Tomorrow I'm going to try and get a podcast with John Farnham up, one of the first dudes to start training civilians. He was I believe he's a Marine sniper in Vietnam, multiple Purple Hearts. He was an editor for Guns and Ammo back in the day. One of the first guys to go from the military to start training civilians. A freaking American patriot. An amazing man. We're going to do a podcast with him tomorrow about carrying your guns. Go get training from good people. So now I will actually end this video.